on, guys? And welcome back to another episode of The Green Zone, the most elevated sports podcast. If you guys like what we got going on here, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Be a friend, tell a friend, share it with someone, pass it along to them, and drop something in the comment. Give us some ideas of what you guys want us to talk about in the future, or if you guys liked what we're talking about here, let us know down there. We'd love to hear what you guys think. Now, let's get into the episode. We are back again. Once again, we're talking Broncos. The NFL drama house, wouldn't you say? I mean, I just feel like there's always some sort of bullshit happening around with the Broncos. We got joining me once again, AB. AB, how you doing, bud? Welcome back to the Green Zone.
Yes, sir, man. We in the green zone today, feeling real green, ready to go, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're talking the Broncos. AB, initial thoughts on the Broncos. I mean, rough offseason. They didn't really do a ton. They traded away a lot of their team or released them. They're kind of on this whole set of a rebuild. I think where we should start off, where you want to start off, is Sean Payton and Russell Wilson, their fragile relationship. And Russell Wilson was eventually traded to the Steelers, right? For like a 6th-round pick, something like that? 5th-round pick?
Justin Fields went for a 6, but he didn't go for nothing much better. Or no, actually, he was cut. He was a free agent.
Oh, that's right. He was cut. He was cut. So, signed with the Steelers. How do you feel about that relationship and how it soured over the past year?
I think that whole situation was handled terribly. It was weird from jump. The Broncos, triple dipped in bullshit. So, first off, traded for Russ, right? Ended up being a bad trade. At the time, I actually thought we didn't even get enough for him, but turns out we won the trade by a mile. But I felt like at the time, Super Bowl winning quarterback, 2-time Super Bowl appearance. At that point, Lambeau, no, it's not time for this shit right now. At that point, he had already had 4 seasons in a row where he was in MVP conversation. So to me, he was underrated. If you looked at, I don't know, from 2016 to 2020, 2021, Russell Wilson was a top 5 quarterback every year. So I just felt like trade wise, it was a solid trade, but we didn't really get much for it. But it turns out we ended up getting a lot for it. Now, skip all of that part. I feel like Nathaniel Hackett, I don't have to go into that. We are, even till today, bro is just surviving Aaron Rodgers. Then we get to the point of, you got a shit coach, shit offensive coordinator. It's not going to work out. So I want to keep that Russell Wilson season first year. I would call it just a throwaway. We don't even think about it. What happened was not his fault. What happened was nobody's fault. It was really Nathaniel Hackett's fault. Then you go in the offseason. It's all right, we've signed this quarterback to almost $250 million. We need to go hire a coach for our team and our quarterback. And they literally go hire a coach for their team that don't fuck with the quarterback. So that was already that was just fucking everything now. Because before Sean Payton took the job, everybody was kind of saying, hey, does he fit in Sean Payton's offense? Will it work? Will they clash? And that's exactly what happened. So they clashed. So I feel like Broncos set themselves up for failure. But eventually, even as they crashed, Russell Wilson was never terrible last year, right? The season, they started off very slow. The defense was absolutely trash, bro. Yeah. Russell Wilson was average to below average. Yeah. Defense came on. Russell Wilson started playing better. I want to say he was a little bit above average. He wasn't great last year. But first year, playing in a new scheme, new guy that you don't really get along with, they pretty much ran off and started winning games at the end of the season because knowing you, Cody, you focus on how you end the season, right? Not how you start. So they was ending the season great, and boom, out of nowhere, guess what happened? He gets benched after beating Kansas City because they say, oh, you got to take less and whatever. Yes, it's business. It's all of that you can tell me, but you signed up for this business. Y'all signed him. It wasn't nobody was forced. You traded for him and you signed him. You gave him this money. That was your plan. And then you went and grabbed a coach and paid him a whole bunch of money, a coach that don't fuck with your quarterback. So it's one of them back to Falcon situation where when you're doing dumb shit after dumb shit, it's going to catch up to you. So now, yeah, what you want to say about that?
I was going to say, question for you. It's a 2-parter. First, where is Russell Wilson in your head in terms of quarterbacks in the league? You don't have to give me an approximation number. Is he 1 to 10? Is he 15 to 20? Is he 20 to 25? 21 to 25? Where does he stand for you in terms of overall quarterbacks?
overall quarterback, because to me, quarterback is really dependent on situation. So I'm thinking if I put every quarterback in the best situation, put them on
Yeah.
the Chiefs and put Tyreek back on the Chiefs, how would they perform? I got Russell Wilson between the 13 to 18 range. And that's not great. But at the same time, yeah, that's why I got him now at this point in his career where at his best, he could probably be about the 13th best quarterback. And if he's not playing that well, he got to see him still as the 18th best quarterback or so. Like, I don't think he's in the 20 of ranges because there's still a lot of young quarterbacks, and I'm taking Russell Wilson over. Like, he got the experience. He's done it before. He just
Yeah.
haven't had great situations lately, right? And there's things I don't like about Russ, right? He takes sacks too much. Like, trust me, we don't even need to go into my pain back in the Seahawks days. But my
Yeah.
point with him, and what was the second part of your question?
It's actually multiple parts. You can keep going if you wanted to, because I keep coming up with more thoughts about it. Okay. Would you take him over Baker Mayfield?
As a player, or like, because this is how I'm gonna answer that. If we just isolate Russell Wilson, like we're starting careers, or are you talking about right now, Russell Wilson and Baker?
Right now. Like if you were to take Russ onto the Bucks, do you think he'd be able to perform just as good or better than Baker?
I'm saying he might be able to perform as good as Baker numbers wise. I don't think the team gets better, and the only reason I'm saying that is where Russ is right now. Russ ain't that leader no more. He don't got it. Like, that juice is not there. Baker has that. And in quarterback, I feel like intangibles is damn near 50%, bro. Like, everybody can throw, or most people can throw, but give me a guy that got it like that. That's a leader. That's like a Jalen Hurts who might not have all the skills, but he
Okay.
can just get his team to win. So, like, I would take Baker over him right now just because of where they are in their careers.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
overall play, I think they're probably about even right now if we just talk about straight up play. But back to my point with Sean Payton, is like they set everything up for failure. And then my point was he didn't even play bad. Like, they set him up to fail, but he ain't even really fail. Like, he did decent, right? First season, I would say, imagine if that was Kirk Cousins' first season back, and that's how they play. They'd be like, all right, cool. Like, he earned his low money for that year. Let's see what he does next year. Like, if the situation wasn't, oh, I don't like this quarterback. Like, he played decent. They were winning games. They had a chance to make the playoffs at the end of the year. So, whatever. Long story short, they fuck all of that up. I'm not happy with Sean Payton because I also feel like he's overrated, but I don't want to go on a tangent on that because
that leads to my next question. Where do you rank Sean Payton in terms of head coaches in the league?
it's tough because I don't think there's a lot of good head coaches in the league. Like, there's not a lot of proven. Like, there's been a lot of turnover lately, so a lot of these guys are young and just kind of like showing up.
Sure.
But that would put him like somewhere in the top 10 or whatever. But I just think as a coach, he looked upon and talked about like before Andy Reid went and won all these Super Bowls, he was on that level of Andy Reid and Mike Tomlin and all the best coaches. And I think he's a little notch below. And that's where I put him because I think he's a great offensive mind. Yeah, he been to a Super Bowl when I was he won a Super Bowl, but how old was I? I don't even know.
Yeah,
So
we were it was 2009, so it wasn't like it was forever ago.
oh God, 2009. What was you doing in 2009? You wasn't on the Green Zone podcast.
Well, I know, but the Colts were playing. It was them and the Colts in the playoffs.
Right. So you remember it vividly. I mean, bro, there's a lot of coaches that won one Super Bowl. I'm not saying he's a bad coach. I'm just saying I don't think he's not a coach that I'm paying $100 million to come and fuck up everything and like start over with. Like, just like that's kind of risky to me.
Why not? If you go back and look at the Saints, even when like Drew Brees got hurt, they still found a way to be offensively and defensively competitive. They at least put on good games. They at least were winning some games with freaking what's his face, the white dude, Taysom Hill, and sometimes even with fucking
Mr. Love was in there. Everybody was winning. But how I look at it is he's a good coach, like I said. But I'm not throwing my whole franchise away to start over with this dude. Like, it's just like you do that for the greatest of the greatest, and I don't know if he's one of the greatest of the greatest. But if you feel like he is, then sure.
Well, it's not the greatest. But you have to have at least a good, like you said, he's a good head coach. There's not a lot of great head coaches in the league. You know, there's once in generation guys. It's not like even where would you put him compared to Harbaugh? Either or, honestly.
He's proven more than which of them? Because now
I mean, that's I
got John over both of them because John just got sustained success, man. He just got is what it is, right? I got John over both of them, and I got Sean, and before I got Jim, just based off of I can only go off production as a coach because that's all we can go off of, right? Yeah. Given that you had a decent enough team. Now, if you was coaching the 2018 Browns, and I'm sorry you can't do nothing about that, but given that you had a good team, what did you do? So that's how I got them ranked. But it's not. I don't even think John Harbaugh is like that much farther off from Sean Payton. But you don't see. I don't think there's a team in the league that's getting ready to give John Harbaugh 100+ million and come here and just do whatever you want. Even if we just sign a quarterback, come to the Eagles. We'll give you 100+ million. You don't like Jalen Hurts, get rid of him and do what you want to do. That's not happening right now.
But it's okay with Jim.
Jim is not doing that. Jim is coming to support the quarterback.
Well, because he's coming into a fucking great team. Obviously,
yes, exactly. I want to give that to Sean Payton. I wouldn't be mad at that for Sean Payton. But my point is, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say the team is the issue with the Broncos. Like clearly, like that defense is horrible, right? The offense is still not great, and they have to like they traded away Jerry Jeudy. Was that a good pick or bad pick? We can get into that in a second. I personally think Jerry Jeudy. He's shown he's just not an alpha in the league. He's not worth, paying for a long-term deal. He's more one of these guys, probably a 1 or 2 year, but the Browns signed him to like a 4-year. That's their own prerogative. Anyways, and then you have Justin Simmons, who's 30, or not Justin Simmons, Cortland Sutton, who is 31, 32. I mean, he's just an aging receiver, so they don't have a ton of wide receiver talent. They got Marvin Mims Jr. last year, so they have to rebuild that side of the ball. Their offensive line was, yikes, atrocious, and hadn't been playing that good. Russ was scrambling for his life the whole time. So you have to, and your choices in head coaching are so slim. You made an obviously grievous error trying to get Aaron Rodgers to convince to come to the Broncos by signing Nathaniel Hackett. The best head coach available at the time last year was Sean Payton. There wasn't anyone else there was no Jim Harbaugh. He was still with Michigan. There was no Mike Vrabel. There was no Bill Belichick. There was no Sean Payton was the best choice. And if he comes in and clearly the styles aren't vibing, it's not necessarily Sean Payton's fault at the same time. Did he handle it right? I don't think so. But is it his fault it's soured? I also don't think so, because we've shown that Russell Wilson had an ego. That fool had his own office in the fucking building, clearly showing he's not a player.
He was past all that.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, Sean Payton came in and took all that away, and Russ didn't like it. They didn't vibe. It was immediate, just like not the same type of, and that's fine. And I think that's why you have to move on from Russ. You have this guy signed who likely is going to give you a better chance of winning for the long-term future than Russell Wilson will give you. And you can also eat the salary cap now by releasing him instead of waiting 2-3 years when you're still having him. And if you took a quarterback, then you got to consider taking Bo Nix. You have all this salary cap bullshit to deal with. It's like, now you can eat it while you have a rookie quarterback who can sit there and learn. And if he's shit, your team's shit, which means you'll get another draft pick here within a year or two, and you can take another quarterback, because within 2-3 years, we're going to have another great quarterback draft class again. It's just kind of how it goes, like next year is kind of meh, but they're still okay quarterbacks. They could take one then. You just never know. But I think it's better to restart now, and then rather than sitting on being average. You know what I mean?
No, and to that point, you made a lot of great points that I can't refute, as far as it just wasn't going to work anyway. Like, the big mistake is back to like my whole thing when we was talking about Penix, was the big mistake was signing Cousins to $50 million. Like, I don't care what you say, that was a mistake. The big mistake here was not only trading for Russell Wilson, but paying him, right? Yeah. So now you got to take the damages. We already here, right? So you got to get rid of him. If you got to sign one coach to kind of rebuild with in that offseason, sure, Sean Payton was the best coach available, right? Yeah. I can rock with that. But when you come to the Bo Nix, that's a whole different situation. And that's what I want to harp on now. That pick is stupid, because you're not picking them 25th overall to where it's like, all right, we can try a quarterback, and if he don't work out, we'll be bad, and we can go pick another high draft pick, right? That's totally fine. That's what you do. When you got a top 12 pick or whatever it was, top 10, top 12, you got to pick the 12th best player, because you're going to need that 12th best player once you get that quarterback. Now you didn't lost the chance of that. Bo Nix is going to be I can guarantee you Bo Nix is not going to be starting quarterback in this league in the next 3 years, bro. He's going to play his way into being a backup, like we already know, which is fine. He's going to be a solid backup. Bo Nix ain't do no more than what a Matt Barkley did at USC. Like, he's that same type of dude where it's like, they played so well in college, are really solid. They come into the league, so they're going to get drafted, and then they play their way out of the league or their backups, career backups. That's what Bo Nix is. Like, he's not special. So when you have that, it's like, use your picks wisely already. Y'all already in a deficit because all of your picks we have. The Seahawks had all their picks. So now you finally have your picks back and you're starting off dumb again because you can't tell me Bo Nix is about to turn life around on the Broncos this year. Like, I think the Broncos is going to be clearly the worst team in that division because I got the Raiders fighting. The Raiders don't fight and do what they do. I got Broncos as the worst team because they already feel like, oh, we have a young quarterback. Defense, like you said, is young. Or they have a certain. Don't got nobody on that defense. Really nobody on the offense either. So what are you even doing here? Like, it's like, if you're going to rebuild, tear everything down, you might as well have some other quarterback to just get beat up throughout the year. Some Stidham or somebody like that, get a beat up throughout the year. And now you got a top overall pick maybe for next year or the year after, whatever it is. Trade some more players, whatever assets that you have, continue to build up and get more draft picks, which is what they're trying to do by getting rid of all these dudes. And then you rebuild the right way. Bo Nix is not the right way to rebuild. That's what I'm leaving at.
I'm going to argue at that one because I've watched Bo Nix since he was a freshman at Auburn because he played 2 years at Auburn. He was a starter both years. And then he played another 3 or 4 at Oregon because of COVID and all that. So I've seen his progression from being god-awful to slowly progressing more and more. He is probably the most experienced quarterback coming out of the draft. So at that point, if you needed
If I was 28, I'd be the most experienced motherfucker too. Like, he old as shit.
I know he's old, but it's not like nothing can happen. It's not like, I'm not going to say the Broncos are going to be good this year, but it's kind of like a Mac Jones situation where that first year they went 10-6, got a playoff spot. He could be potentially good, not great, not phenomenal, not. He could be like a Baker Mayfield type where he is a Baker Mayfield type with just slightly less of an arm. I mean, and a little bit faster. So he's smart. He knows how to play offense. He knows how to play quarterback. He's been doing it for almost 6 years in college level. He has a lot of experience. He's been able to play in very tough environments and very tough games. I mean, if you look at those fucking Washington, Oregon games last year, those games were the 2 best games of the fucking year, damn near. Those games were insane to watch. And we were blessed to be able to see them in the national championship conversation at the end of the year. So we've seen his experience, we've seen him develop, we've seen him grow, and now he has a chance to prove it again in the NFL. I do think it would be a situation where they need to build the team around him. It wouldn't be like a Patrick Mahomes where he can win with very little weapons. It would have to be more like a Jared Goff where the team is built around to make him successful, but it's not like they can just do that in 1 year. It's a rebuild. I think this is kind of the start of it, and we could also be saying here in 3 years, Broncos made the right choice. Bo Nix is at least good enough to be understood that he is worth, what is it likely going to be with the salary cap in 3 years? Probably closer to like 35-ish million a year, and he's one of 30, maybe 40, and he's one of those quarterbacks that is a franchise quarterback, but just is paid less in order to make sure the team is serviceable. He could also completely flame out and be shit. I mean, we just don't know at this point, but I think the other side of things of him being at least a decent quarterback for years to come is more likely than him just completely flaming out. I don't think it was the wrong choice. I don't think it was, because who else went after him? Like,
and I don't even think it's about the quarterbacks. You got to pick what you got. It's a draft. It's not a quarterback draft. It's a draft. You got to draft the best players that are there, given that you can get a quarterback that's good for you. But if you can't, and it's like you said, you mentioned they have to rebuild. You can't rebuild in a year. So why draft a quarterback now?
Because he fits on Payton's offense.
But why draft him now, though? Because he can't be good. Because what did you mention about him? You explained how he's not a dude that's like a Patrick Mahomes, right? And Patrick Mahomes had weapons. But let's just say he's not a dude that carries the team. You need good parts around him. You need to surround him. You don't play through him. You just kind of have him make the right plays and shit like that, which is Sean Payton's offense. But with what weapons, like you were saying, with what team, with what defense?
It's year one. That's what I said. It's a rebuild.
You don't need him yet. That was a necessary pick. You
Why
don't need
not?
a
Why
quarterback
not
yet.
build the quarterback first and have him develop? And have him start. It could kill his It could kill his confidence. Like it is very much possible,
Hey,
but it could also be a great time to say, "Hey, we understand we're not supposed to win a ton this year. We're going to do our best. We're going to put you in situations to help you learn and grow, so that next year we're able to draft more talent and develop the team further and further." Because the likelihood of a quarterback coming in year one and completely dominating compared to a wide receiver or a running back or a tight end is significantly lower for the quarterback side than it is for the wide receiver talent. We see wide receivers and shit do that all the time. And drafted anywhere throughout the draft. There's always talent for where sometimes some of the best quarterbacks are never found. They aren't found. They're found late. They're found early. You just never know with quarterbacks. You never know with all the players, but I think they're making the right move by getting the guy now, developing now, have him ready to go for the future under a similar play style where a almost same size quarterback. I think Bo Nix is probably like 3 inches taller, 2 inches taller than Drew Brees, but similar play style is able to come in and by the time the team is drafted around him and is humming a little bit, maybe get some good free agency acquisitions after next year. Because you got to understand too, they can't build the team around him this year. They're eating like $85 million of Russell Wilson, which is still, like you said, their fault in the beginning, but they're still eating that cap hit this year. So it's a shit ton of money. They kind of just have to say fuck it and take the hit this year, not be great. I mean, if Bo Nix doesn't understand that and that kills his confidence, it's kind of on him then at the same point. The team can't be good this year. It's just not
bro,
that way.
comparing Bo Nix to Drew Brees should have your podcast canceled, bro. You tripping. There's nothing similar about them. You talk about their height and one's taller. They don't have the same play, so I don't want to hear it. Like
Yes, they
they're
do.
not the same dude. Drew Brees is a Hall of Famer, bro. Drew Brees was one of the best quarterbacks. They're not the same type of quarterback. The way you described, tell me in the league today, all 32 quarterbacks,
Mhm.
tell me how many of them has the same description you just gave me about Bo Nix. He played 5 years in college. He started off shit, and then he started winning a lot of games, and he's shown that he can compete. He never won a Heisman. Never really was a front runner for a Heisman, like really at the end of the season. So he was just a kind of journeyman, solid college quarterback career. How many of those are in the league right now playing well? Because you described the dude that you described to me is like a dude that's like a Jacoby Brissett after he already been in the league hella long. Like, oh, he knows how to win. He's played in big games. I don't want to go draft that top 12. Are you drafting Jacoby Brissett top 12?
I don't think they're the same player. I think Bo Nix is much better than Jacoby Brissett.
Wow. From what? But like, which I just told you. So, okay, basically, on what you explained on his college career, give me an equivalent quarterback in the
Get
league.
better. Why does it have to be an equivalent to the college career? Why can't it just be equivalent to who he is now going into the league compared to someone going into the league? It doesn't have to be experience wise. It just has to be who they can be.
Because that type of quarterback that you explained is not a quarterback that's going to translate into the NFL. There's a reason why he ain't really take off in college. Like he just progressively got better, but he ain't really ever took off. So it's like
Who's to say he
you're not
can't
showing me
get
the
better?
potential that you can take off. So like, how's that going to work in the NFL? The NFL is
He
better.
was
Everybody's
gonna
better.
take off. I never said he was. I said he's going. I said good. He can progressively get better and better and
In
better.
college, he was good. So like, how he going to be good in the NFL? You usually
Look at
get
Jared Goff. Look at Jared Goff. Like the dude flamed out. He literally was done. Everyone thought it
one
was,
overall pick,
huh?
number one overall pick.
I know.
Unequivocally. There was no
I know.
fighting.
Is he better?
So
Does he have the talent that he should be drafted that high? Probably not.
he played like he should have been drafted that high in college, is my point. You making my point. Bo Nix never played like that. He never showed that he was a Jared Goff in college. Jared
What
Goff was
do you
no
mean?
question number one overall pick. Bo Nix was never no question overall nothing. He wasn't supposed to be no top five,
But
top
that's
10
also
pick.
the rest of the talent that's in the league, like, or that's getting drafted into the league at the same time. Like, that's like saying Jamarcus Russell. Like, he wasn't fucking. He didn't do shit in the league.
He
Like, there's
did what he was supposed to do before. That's what I'm trying to say.
but there's so many quarterbacks that have been drafted early that haven't done shit in college. Like they literally are just like look at fucking what's his face from the Niners. That got traded to the Cowboys.
Trey Lance. But then those first off, those guys are already weird. I'm not gonna argue why they should have been
Anthony
drafted.
Richardson only played 13 games in the NFL. There's guys that come in and they don't do shit in college, and there's guys that come in that have played a little bit more. And people can like you're putting it into a bracket. I'm just saying he has likelihoods. He shows similar talent style and similar play style to what Sean Payton has worked with before as a quarterback. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying he is Drew Brees. I'm saying he is Bo Nix. We don't know. Like, we can only sit here and make comparisons until we see them actually play and develop. And I think there is a better chance of Bo Nix playing longer in the NFL and at least being a serviceable quarterback than it is him just completely flaming out and disappearing. Either or likely, though. That's just my opinion.
That's wishful thinking. And the examples that you made about the players that he could be, or no, the players that don't have experience, that didn't do shit, that got drafted high, those players had some type of thing that pretty much made them hype, right? It's Zach Wilson with the arm and the throwing skills. He might be the next Aaron Rodgers. He can run around. Trey Lance, he runs like a 4.4. He's out there. He's a big quarterback. He has the biggest arm in the world. He can throw it 80 yards. So they're projecting, oh, that's my next Josh Allen. What are you projecting Bo Nix to be, bro? He don't have his resume is just like a solid resume. It's not like a show me any flash, which is fine if you show that, all right, I got this rocket arm, or I can run and do all this shit, or I'm this big talented quarterback. Like, there's something that should make me want to draft you. There's nothing talent wise. He's very cool talent wise, like average, all right, solid, whatever talent wise. And then production is also average, cool, whatever, solid. So that guy is a 3rd round pick, which is great. You see what he can do for you. There's a lot of 3rd round picks that can do well, but you don't draft him 12th overall, because you could have drafted somebody else 12th overall and draft Bo Nix later if he's there. And if he's not there, then you're not losing nothing.
What's Jared Goff's flash? What's his flash point?
He doesn't have his flash point, but he had the production in college to show that I'm going to be a number 1 overall pick.
So did Bo Nix. Look at did you see how Oregon played? Can you name another player on Oregon that is absolutely overall going to be a dominant player in the NFL right now?
Would you draft Bo Nix with the number 1 overall pick and not bat an eye? Or the number 3 overall pick?
In this draft class? Fuck no. Not in this draft class.
Why not the 3rd overall pick?
Because he's not better. He's not better than Caleb Williams. He's not better than Jaden Daniels. He did not play better last year than them. I agree. Michael Penix beat him twice. And is that necessarily all of Bo Nix's fault? No, because those games came down to the last fucking minute, and they were the same score each time. 30. They lost by 3 each time. Like, it wasn't like it was like, oh my God. So, okay, I give him the nod. JJ McCarthy just won the national championship. Okay, like, give him. It was kind of the same thing with freaking anyone that's won the national championship. They kind of get bolstered more. So would I say next year, if he like, for whatever reason he had another year in college, if it was him, Shador, Quinn Ewers, what's his face? Who else is there? Yeah, I could see him being taken over any of those guys. I could completely see it happening because he's had the experience. Like, it's just the draft class that he was drafted in. He's just not going to be. Every one of those guys had an outstanding season. Oh, you want to talk about journeyman who got traded and played like shit at first? What about Jaden Daniels? Like, same exact thing.
He won the Heisman. The Bo Nix won the Heisman. What are you talking about? You're making bad points, my guy.
He had one good year. Like,
and that gets you drafted. This is the draft, bro. They go off potential. Bo Nix ain't had that one great year, so I can go off his potential.
Yes, he has. Like, did you not? You don't even watch college football.
Now it's I don't watch college football. I'm killing you on the points, and now it's I don't watch college football.
You're not killing me on the points, not at all.
Because Bo Nix ain't had that flash season.
One replacement. If that was the point, then he should have been taken number 1 overall because he was the best, but he wasn't. Jaden.
Bro, he went 2nd overall. What are you talking about? There was Caleb Williams, who could be the next Mahomes, everybody's saying. And you keep bringing up Jared Goff, okay, tell me the quarterback in that draft class coming from college that was better than Jared Goff.
That's my point.
Nobody. He was the best quarterback. So Bo Nix is not even on that level. He's not the best quarterback any year he would have came out. If Bo Nix came out that year, he would have been still about the 4th.
Saying 1 year that there was no other quarterbacks around him to be drafted. That's my point. If Bo Nix was taken next year for some reason, that's what I just named, I would take him number 1 overall next year.
No, you wouldn't.
Over Shador? Like, Shador has shit.
Shador? Okay, Shador hasn't done shit, but he did some shit in the HBCU. What about that? Tell Bo Nix to go to HBCU and go do some shit.
Okay, then name me all the talented quarterbacks that came out of the HBCU that are dominating the NFL right now.
Well, not right now because are you going to argue that? Are we going to argue that? Why is that? Cody.
It's the same thing because the talent's not there. They are not a Power 5 conference. They haven't been developed against a. Name me a quarterback that was a Division 2
over Bo Nix.
That is
tag this Shador over Bo Nix, or you can tag this shit Bo Nix over Shador, and let's see how many clicks you get because that's some fucking bullshit. Some Bo Nix over Shador. You can have Bo Nix, and I'm not even the biggest Shador fan. You can have Bo Nix.
They played in the same conference.
How about we make a bet on Bo Nix?
Okay,
right now.
A bet.
My bet is that Bo Nix is not the starting quarterback after this next season. So this is his rookie year. He's gonna have a second year, and that's it.
That's it.
Okay. And I'm gonna find you. You gonna pay for what you gonna do? You gonna pay for my wedding?
What? No, I'm not gonna pay you. What the fuck is wrong with you?
In 2 years, you're gonna make some money.
No. You said so starting next season, Bo Nix will not be the starting quarterback of the Broncos. That's the bet.
I say starting next season. I said so he's gonna have his rookie season, and then he's gonna have a second year. After the second year, he's done being a starter in this league.
Okay, that's your bet. What's the odds? What's the wager?
I damn near want to put anything on it.
I'm not a betting man. I usually bet $5. I'll bet you $50 because I usually bet $5 bets. I don't waste money that way.
To get $50. Let's not make it money. Let's do it a service. How about we bet 2 dinners on it? We're gonna put 2 dinners on it.
All right, that's cool.
Yeah, 2 dinners.
I'll take that. That's like that's
of your choice, whatever you want, however you want. So when I wait 2 years and Bo Nix is sitting on your couch or he's sitting on this podcast with us on Green Zone, then I'm gonna let you know. I'm gonna be like, all right, let's run these dinners.
Oh, you gonna hate it when I come down. I'm gonna get lit. I'm gonna get some, and the winner gets to choose restaurant, right?
Yeah, of course.
Within reason. I won't flame you.
What's the reason for me, boy? I'm gonna have you give me some filet mignon.
Okay.
All that.
Okay. Well, then if you tell me that, sounds good. That's an easy bet. I'll take that shit. Little shake hand. That's an easy dub.
We got it locked in.
That's an easy dub. And then so when this happens and Bo Nix is, even if he has, here's the thing, even if he has a shit start to the league, look at Mac Jones. He's still got 3 years of starting. That's just kind of a.
Mac Jones didn't start shit. He started off good. He made a Pro Bowl his first year. Don't forget that. That's why he had one bad season after, and they were like, all right, let's see what's up. And by that third season, he was already in and out the bench. He wasn't a starting quarterback last year. He was in and out.
Exactly. That's that because the likelihood of a quarterback coming in and not knowing exactly who they are, because Mac Jones, you saw he didn't have any weapons on New England. They weren't going to do great. At least he showed something. He showed a flash, and somehow they found a way to win multiple games and turned it around.
And let's agree on something right now on the bet. Mm-hmm. On that third season, it's not starts a game or two because that can happen where the backup gets hurt or the rookie.
No, you said no. No. Your exact words, we have it on tape, was to say he's going to play his rookie year, he's going to play his second year, and then he'd be done. If he's not
going to be I said he's not going to be a starting quarterback in the league. That's what I said. I didn't say he's going to be done. He's not going to get cut.
Going into the third year, the bet is one on my side.
What?
If he is a starter going into the third year, the bet is one on my side.
What if he's a starter to the rookie that they just drafted to replace him? Would you still consider him a starting quarterback because he's literally on his way out?
Yes, because if the rookie is not good enough to replace him, he's not starting yet.
But you would already know that they trying to build up the rookie. We argue on hypotheticals, but like, bro, he's not a starting. If I go draft a quarterback to replace you, you ain't no starting quarterback no more. Especially
Aaron Rodgers and what's his face, Jordan Love. What do you mean?
You got But Aaron Rodgers was. Come on now, we know what Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is older, so that's a transition. Bo Nix wouldn't be older. Bo Nix would only be 2 years into the season. If you're 2 years into your career and they draft another quarterback to replace you,
what if it is a motivational tactic? That's all I'm saying.
For 2 years, or you gonna waste a fucking high draft pick for a motivational? I want you to be.
Who to say is gonna be a high draft pick? They could be drafting a quarterback in the fucking third or fourth round. Then
I would give you that. Then you would win. If they draft a quarterback if they don't draft a first round quarterback, then of course, yeah, you have that because that's just like for competition. But if you're drafting a first rounder by the third year, you're trying to replace him, and he's not a starter no more.
Adding all these stipulations. All you said was if he is a starting quarterback in the league in his third year, I wouldn't.
So
Why are you trying to add all these?
It's a starting quarterback, right? Was Zach Wilson a starting quarterback in the league last year? Like, come on now, he's a backup.
That's starting week 1. That's what he did not start week 1. Aaron Rodgers started the game and he fucking tore his Achilles. Like he was forced to be into the league. I agree. He was not a starter. Like,
but he started games, so that's what you want to go based off of.
this was Zach Wilson. That was his third year. But I'm saying no. The bet was he is the starter going into the league. Zach Wilson was not the starter
into the season.
Going into the season, Zach Wilson was not the starter.
All right, I don't hold you on that. I'll give you that, but I still feel like they might already have somebody that's going to replace him that year. But whatever, you got one.
We're gonna see. That's gonna be a long-term play out. I'm excited for the CLO. Okay, what else we have to talk about with the Broncos? We've been sitting here arguing about Bo Nix.
Yeah. Because man, Bo Nix trash, man. Everybody left, and I want you to tag this Bo Nix over Shador because that's what you think.
Remind me when I make the things.
You crazy as hell.
I just don't think I don't like Shador. I just the way he plays. I need to see a complete shift in mentality this year. That could change my mind. But what I have seen on tape and what I have seen him play and how because I've watched every single one of that motherfucker's games last year. It's just not
with that O line that he had. He played well. He just didn't. Towards the end of the season, they start falling apart. But he made
a lot of horrible decisions, man. Hey, if you think he is supposed to be touted, like
it's a lot of hype around me. It's a lot of hype around him. I'm not the one to argue.
Aren't you also saying that, like, if that was the case, like, then they needed to build the team up around him? You know, like, you could argue that, like, then he's not the guy, the stud and the absolute dominant player that he is. That you're saying that he's supposed to.
They don't have an O line. I didn't say they have to build the whole team. They have weapons. You got to block for them. If they find nobody block for you, hard, man.
I don't know.
He ain't Mahomes. They got to look at Caleb Williams the one season, and he's no Caleb Williams. But look at what happened when he didn't have an O line this past year. And
did he still have like 52 touchdowns?
No, not this past year. He struggled. That was you talking about his Heisman season,
or maybe yards. I'm talking. Maybe it was 5,200 yards.
And that's still Caleb Williams. But that's the point of even a Caleb Williams still needs some weapons in the O line in college. Yeah, but I guess where you got the Broncos finishing? Because I told you I think they're the worst team in that division.
Oh, for sure. No. But that's what I'm saying. I don't think the team's there, and I think Bo Nix has to know that going into it. I think the team has to know that going into it. They have an $85 million dead cap hit this year on their bucket. That is fucking almost a third of their cap space this year because it's $288 million. Like that's a fuck ton of money. You know what I mean? Like maybe a fourth. That's a fuck ton of money to just not have. So I don't have them being good this year. Even next year might be a little rough for them. I think it's going to take a little bit of time to turn things around. If they see a glimmer of hope out of Bo Nix, I think he's going to be there for at least the 4 years of his contract. I'm trying to look. What else do they fucking? Who else do they got?
Nobody. There's nothing. We don't have to make nothing. I'm talking about the Broncos. Broncos suck. Bo Nix sucks.
Yeah. The one thing I wanted to point out, they still haven't re-signed PS2 to a long-term contract.
I mean, I don't even. That's something that I honestly don't care about because you don't even have the team for nothing. Like, yes, he's a best corner in the league, so sure you want to sign him, but you sign him for what? You sign him and you still got the worst team in the league. So